Hey guys, Baron Grutter here. Just a little case I've been working on, and I just did made a little observation that I found kind of interesting. So real quickly, this is the case. It's going to be an overdenture with 3 implants. I won't bore you with all the details there, but I will show you that first of all, I scanned in her existing denture, added some markers to the inside, 3 on the inside and 5 on the outside. Gave us a really nice stitch. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off the implants for now and the nerve and the overall CT image because that's kind of irrelevant to what I'm going to show you. So right now, being a denture, we realign this with acrylic to get a nice fit. We're actually going to be replacing this denture. It doesn't fit her well, or at least the occlusion isn't perfect. And anyway, we're going to be replacing it, but at least works for a good scan appliance and gives us a pretty good idea of where the teeth are going to end up. Maybe not exact, but pretty darn close. So anyway, once when you use a scan appliance, you have a couple of different options. You can either just use the scan appliance itself in the guide panel to make a scan appliance guide. And so, sorry, let's go ahead and click there, and you can place your implants, and then it'll create a scan appliance guide, which looks like this. So you can see here's my holes, and it just cuts the teeth out. I kind of like this option because it really kind of gives you a reference of where these implants are going to be. Although, is it really necessary? No, but maybe it's a waste of acrylic. I don't know. But it kind of feels more like a natural case or a tooth. A normal case with a bunch of teeth that we're working between. I don't know. It just gives me a little more frame of reference. Um, for the future. But the other option you have is you can go ahead and take this model and you can go into the model manipulation tab, and then you can go ahead and draw a curve and digitally pour it. And in that you end up with an inverted mesh which looks like this. If we turn off the model or the scan appliance, now we see her edentulous model. Um, and then from there you can go ahead and do your normal way of tracking or drawing out your guide, and then creating a surgical guide, which is more of our traditional guide like this. um, Again, neither one's going to be more accurate than the other as far as the acrylic. It's all, I mean, the resin, the print, it's all going to be the same. It's just a different way of referencing. I suppose this is less material, so less waste. But I guess it's kind of to each their own. I did actually go ahead and make an implant guide as well. You can see the sleeve heights change a little bit in height. That's because if you're using it as an implant guide, well, the offset is a little different. But that's a kind of a side point. What I noticed though, and it makes sense, is that if you look up here on the outline, well, sorry, turn off the scan appliance. Let's turn on the outline of the surgical guide, and I'm actually going to come right over here and just turn on this panel. And now, of course, I'm going to turn this off. If we go ahead and turn on the surgical guide, the other one, and look at the outline here, you're going to see a pretty big difference. And if I track through it, it's constantly different. And the reason for that is because the software is literally using the same 3D model and creating these holes right in it, but not actually changing the underside of the scan appliance, the intaglio of it. So it's preserving that. Whereas the reason the other one is higher is because we are, as I said earlier, inverting it. So we're taking, let's turn off this guide. Let's leave that. Let's go ahead and just turn the the scan appliance on. So if I turn that on and then I click on the inverted mesh, you can see that it's a perfect match because that's how the software creates that mesh. Well, now we go ahead and turn on the guide that is generated from that, and you can see the gap. Well, the reason the software does that is it's traditionally, when you have a model that's going to be coming from a poured impression like this, um, it's going to be a almost too rigid of a fit. So you need a little bit of give so that you can actually get the appliance on or get the guide on. So it gives a little leeway. I guess the moral of the story here is if you're going to be using a full acrylic scan appliance, where you don't need any give because obviously the acrylic fit in the mouth. It should fit in if it's the similar shape of the guide. I think that a scan appliance guide might be a little more ideal. Whereas if you're using a scan, calling it a scan appliance guide, but it's actually a PBS impression, well, that might fit really intimate to the to teeth. And if you print that out in resin, although it does eliminate undercuts, it still might be a little too intimate. So having a guide that has this little bit of leeway to make up for that may actually be a better option there. So anyway, just a thought as you're working through your cases. If you're going to do a scan appliance, well, if you're going to have a full acrylic um, denture, I guess is really the only, just about the only time this would come up. A scan appliance guide might have a more consistent fit or identical to the original fit that you had of the denture. Whereas if you have a PBS impression, you might want that extra little leeway. So you might not want to turn your PBS impression scan appliance. You might want to go ahead and pour that up and then have the guide made from that. So anyway, just a little interesting thing I came up noticed as I was looking through this.